Today we are coming to you from Pacific Union College. I'm Sam Han.
And I'm Sarah Lee.
We're going to be talking about Michelangelo's famous sculpture, Pieta. It was completed in 1499 and it depicts Mary holding Jesus' dead body and is sorrowing over his death. Pieta was sculpted out of marble and is located in St. Peter's Basilica. It stands at a height of 5.7 feet and a width of 6.4 feet. He was commissioned by a French cardinal to make the sculpture within a year, but it ended up taking Michelangelo about 2 years to complete. Well, let's get to the sculpture, shall we?
We shall.
So, what do you find interesting about this sculpture?
You know, the way in Christ's body is almost one entity with Mary's. How he almost perfectly fits into Mary's lap. The contrapposto, literally translated into...
Counterpoise.
Yeah, counterpoise. The S curve and the one leg off balance.
And like naturalism.
Naturalism, this is when naturalism
started budding out.
It started emerging like a newborn baby coming out of the womb for the first time.
Exactly.
It became actually a classical style for the Greeks, and the Greeks' attempt to depict the human body through the sculpture and to really emphasize the anatomy of the human body.
Well, what do you think about the proportion of Mary's upper body to her lower body? Her lower body's much bigger than her upper body.
Exactly. Michelangelo did this purposely, as if, he has to accommodate for Christ's frail body, make it look more natural and more human.
Yes,
going back to the whole realism.
Well, speaking of Mary, what do you think about her face? It's sculpted so young, but she must have been at least 45 to 50 years old.
Yes, Mary's youthfulness, it symbolizes an incorruptible and eternal beauty.
Yeah, it almost shows as if Michelangelo highlighted Christ's triumph over age and death. Something interesting about this sculpture is that a geologist named Laszlo Toth in 1972 came into the chapel and attacked the sculpture with a hammer.
Yeah, he actually destroyed part of it, right? It actually took 1 year to repair it back, Speaking of vandalism and the attacking of spiritual artworks, that brings us to our next piece, Piss Christ by Serrano. So it was actually a photograph that Serrano had done of small plastic crucifix that he had submerged into his own urine. It caused a lot of controversy back in 1987 when it was first released.
It also has been receiving a lot of scrutiny within the last couple of years.
One of the biggest controversies behind this artwork was that it was funded by the government. The government had provided Serrano with a grant.
And then wasn't it about like $15,000?
$15,000, which, that explains why it was attacked and destroyed in places like France and Australia. So how does this make you feel about how the fact that crucifix is submerged in the artist's own urine? How does this fact make you feel?
It makes me feel almost as if I'm angry and upset. And
would you say it pisses you off?
I guess you can say that. So why did he end up putting this crucifix in his own urine? Like, was he trying to make a statement? Was he trying to make a point?
The actual crucifixion, it involved bodily fluids of blood, and Christ may have peed himself on the cross.
Yeah, it was the lowest of low.
And I have a quote here from Serrano himself, and he said, as a Christian and as an artist, he had the right to use the symbols of the church. He did intend for this to spark and open up a dialogue. He didn't intend to offend the church. Many Christians are often enraged by, they feel almost that the figure of Christ has been disrespected because of Serrano's use of his own urine. But, when you get rid of the medium, the urine and the title of the artwork, it almost becomes as if, he's just interested in the color of it.
It's very like, orange and yellow.
Yeah, it's almost not even different than Gauguin's Yellow Christ that we have seen and accepted.
As this is a photograph of a mere crucifix submerged in urine, would you consider this art?
Of course. This is a contemporary art. Like, actually, the advantage of, the contemporary is it may be jarring and confronting, just sometimes just questionable, but we as viewers and an audience, we feel almost liberated and, liberated enough to have an opinion.
Everyone has an opinion on contemporary art.
Exactly. You don't have to be a scholar or a historian to have an opinion.
That's what makes this art more open for interpretation.
The more we are aware of the social context, the more audiences tend to become offended. But it is just, the power of symbols. If we didn't have the context of like
holiness and religion, we simply view art as an image. So both Pieta and Piss Christ represent Jesus Christ, but in different ways. Just different era itself, different feelings to it, different meanings.
Different audiences.
But at the end, they're both still art.